The emergence of the Tea Party movement on the far right of American politics in 2009 has been a strange and wonderful gift for America's liberals. And it's not just because it's an ancient political blessing for one's political enemies to do things that make themselves look extreme or incoherent or just funny, particularly when they don't seem to get the joke. The Tea Party movement has been a strange gift to America's liberals, not only because of how the Tea Partiers have made conservatism look to the rest of the country, but also because of the homage the Tea Partiers have paid to the greatest hits of lefty protest tactics, even the ones that never work. Just this year, they have marched on Washington repeatedly, ignoring real crowd estimates to proclaim that theirs were the biggest marches on Washington ever. Just this month, they tried to make like an ACT UP chapter and announced that they'd be doing a die-in at a Senate office building in protest of health reform. Nobody actually did die in, but hey, it's the thought that counts. And now the Tea Partiers have announced their latest attempt at emulating the most grandiose of all lefty protest tactics. They have announced, and I quote, a national day of strike. That's the phrasing they're using, a national day of strike, at which they will make a national day of point. On the one-year anniversary of President Obama's inauguration, the Tea Party Patriots say they are planning, quote, the greatest confrontation in the modern history of America. The way the greatest confrontation in the modern history of America is going to go down is that Tea Partiers on that day are going to boycott American businesses. Quote, on January 20th, 2010, we will demonstrate our power and reach to those companies who employ individuals backing the leftist agenda in every major city, every congressional district, and every small rural town in America to spread one unified message. That message is simple. Stop funding socialism. But wait, it turns out it's not that simple. Or at least the message has a part two. Quote, either renounce this behavior or we will be back on February 27th, 2009. And we will march again against you. See, they'll march in January 2010 against the socialist companies. And then if the socialist companies don't repent after January 2010, the Tea Partiers will be back the previous year in February 2009. Do not mess with the Tea Partiers who can time travel, you communist companies. You'll be sorry. So good luck to the Tea Party Patriots with their big national time travel boycott of communist companies. Since they promise it will be the greatest confrontation in the modern history of America, I'm sure we will be doing wall-to-wall coverage. Meanwhile, the Tea Party Patriots are also still locked in battle with other Tea Party factions, who they find insufficiently Tea Party-ish. Zachary Roth at TPM Muckraker today, quoting an unnamed Tea Party Patriots activist criticizing another Tea Party group called the Tea Party Express. Now, the Tea Party Express is part of a political action committee called Our Country Deserves Better. It was founded by a Republican consulting firm in California, a firm called Russo, Marsh & Associates. Talking Points memo examined the PAC's Federal Election Commission filings from July through November. They discovered that nearly two-thirds of the money sent by the Tea Party Express PAC just went right back to that Republican consulting firm. How much did Russo, Marsh & Associates and people associated with it make from the brainchild that they had, the Tea Party Express, in just 5 months? They made $857,122, which, if you want to do the math, carry the exploitation, works out to be enough money to buy themselves 1,561 tickets to the first ever National Tea Party Convention. There's the Tea Party Patriots with the National Day of Strike. There's the Tea Party Express with the paying the Republican consulting firm. And then there's the Tea Party Nation, which is organizing the first National Tea Party Convention in February in Nashville. If you want to go to the Tea Party Convention, tickets are $549. The main event at the conference is a banquet and keynote speech by Sarah Palin. If you cannot afford more than $500 a ticket to go to the whole event, you can just go to the Sarah Palin part of it for a mere $349, which is starting to make this whole thing feel less like a grassroots movement and more like a grassroots harvest. Joining us now is Stephen Gordon. He was protesting taxes at Tea Parties years before the current incarnation of so-called Tea Partiers. He is a libertarian political consultant and blogger from Alabama. He was also Ron Paul's state media coordinator in Alabama. Stephen, it's really nice to see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, good evening, Rachel. How are you?
Great, thank you. When we talked back in April about the takeover of the old school libertarian Tea Party idea, you said on this show it's important that people at the grassroots level stick to our guns and say no when they try to co-opt our message. In the intervening months, do you feel like the message has been co-opted? Is it sort of a lost cause, or do you feel like it's still being fought out right now?
In some places it's being fought out, in some places it's always been a lost cause, and in some places it's somewhere in the middle. People are trying to do the right thing, but GOP organizations and campaigns are effectively taking over the Tea Party movement in some places in the country.
Can you shed any light for us on the splits that's caused within the Tea Party movement? This Tea Party Express group, for example, that's linked to this Republican consulting firm, how are they viewed by other Tea Party activists and groups that you know?
I spoke tonight with one of my friends who's really involved in the Birmingham Tea Party movement, and he said that they went along with the Tea Party stuff initially, found out that they were being exploited and usurped, but it was too late to get out of the arrangement. But they're definitely not going to do anything like that again. However, in other places like Atlanta, and I've got a lot of ties to Atlanta, they knew it all along, and it's just big government republicanism in the Atlanta movement, from what I see here.
Do you see a link between that and what seems like profiteering here? I mean, $549 a ticket to go to the Tea Party convention. We know that Freedom Works was selling speaking slots at the 9/12 march for $10,000. If you gave them $10,000, they'd let you speak to that march. Do you see a connection to that side of the profiteering, the exploitation side of it, and the Republican Party being involved, or are those separate issues?
Well, I think they're interrelated. One of the things the Tea Party movement has been, they had started off as genuine grassroots operations. Most of these people had no political experience. They weren't even collecting email addresses of people. So when somebody comes in and offers to help organize and help them with these things, yeah, that's great. But what these Republican consultants want, and I'm one of these consultants, I do this for a living, they want those email lists. They want the dollars. They want to control the organization so that they can exploit it for their political purposes. Unfortunately, the political purposes of most establishment Republicans is not the same as a grassroots conservative Tea Party person.
Libertarian political consultant and blogger Stephen Gordon, it's really helpful to have your insight on this. Thanks very much for coming on the show tonight. Hope to have you back soon.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.